Toyota has officially pulled the covers off the 2026 HiLux. For the last 10 years, we've been driving the N80 generation. That's the 2025 model you see on the roads today. It's tough, it's reliable, and frankly, it's getting a bit old. The 2026 model was supposed to be the TNGA-F revolution. We expected a new frame shared with the Land Cruiser 300, but what we got is something Toyota calls the Cyber Sumo design. Is it just lipstick on a pig? Or have they fundamentally fixed the flaws of the 2025 model? I'm going to compare them category by category: engines, chassis, interior tech, off-road specs, and price, so you know exactly where your money is going. Let's rip the Band-Aid off immediately. This is the biggest controversy of the 2026 release. If you crawl underneath a 2025 Toyota HiLux, you are looking at the IMV ladder frame chassis. It's a legendary piece of steel that has survived wars and outback crossings. Now, if you crawl underneath the 2026 new-gen HiLux, you are looking at the exact same frame. That's right, Toyota did not move the 2026 HiLux to the TNGA-F platform that underpins the new Tacoma or the Prado. They kept the old bones. But, and this is a huge but, they didn't leave it entirely untouched. The 2025 model is known for being a bit jittery. When you drive a 2025 HiLux unladen, meaning with nothing in the tray, the rear leaf springs can feel like they're trying to kick your kidneys out of your body. It bounces, it's stiff, it feels like a truck from 2015, because, well, it is. For 2026, Toyota kept the frame but changed how the cabin sits on it. They have introduced new shear-type cabin mounts and completely revised hydraulic engine mounts. In plain English, this means the vibration that travels from the road, up the wheels, through the frame and into your seat has been dampened significantly. They finally realized that people buy these utes to drive their kids to school, not just to haul bricks. Furthermore, the suspension tune has been split. In the 2025 lineup, most models felt roughly the same, stiff. In 2026, Toyota has bifurcated the suspension geometry. If you buy a Workmate or SR grade, you get the heavy-duty, stiff setup designed for maximum payload. But if you buy the SR5 or the Rogue, you get a completely different damper tune aimed at adventure-oriented private use. They've softened the initial compression stroke to make it ride more like an SUV. So score 1 for the 2026 model on comfort, but don't let the salesman tell you it's an all-new platform. It isn't. It's the old skeleton with new cartilage. Now, let's talk power. This is where the numbers game gets tricky, and where accuracy is non-negotiable. In the 2025 HiLux, the heart of the beast is the 1GD FTV 2.8-liter four-cylinder turbo diesel. It pushes out 150 kilowatts of power, that's about 201 horsepower, at 3,400 RPM. The torque figures sit at 500 Newton-meters for the 6-speed automatic and drop to 420 if you choose the manual. Fast forward to the 2026 model, you open the bonnet, expecting maybe a V6, maybe the 3.3-liter from the Land Cruiser 300? No, it is the same 1GD FTV engine. The power is exactly the same, 150 kilowatts, the torque is exactly 500 Newton-meters. However, there is a distinct difference in how that power is delivered, and it comes down to a tiny badge on the tailgate that says V-Active. In late 2024 and throughout 2025, Toyota started trickling out their 48-volt mild hybrid technology. On the 2025 model, this was reserved for specific high-spec trims. It uses a motor generator unit that replaces the alternator. It's not a full hybrid. It cannot drive the wheels on electric power alone. For the 2026 lineup, this system is standard across almost all automatic dual-cab variants. Here's the numerical detail you need to know. That small electric motor can inject an additional 12 kilowatts and, more importantly, 65 Newton-meters of torque into the driveline. Now, you cannot just add that 65 Newton-meters to the peak 500 Newton-meters and say it has 565 Newton-meters. That's not how physics works here. This electric boost fills the torque gap. You know that split second in the 2025 model when you put your foot down at a roundabout and wait for the turbo to spool up? That lag? The 2026 model uses the battery to shove the crankshaft instantly, smoothing out that hesitation. The 2026 engine also features a revised idle capability. It drops the idle speed from 720 RPM down to 600 when you're off-roading or crawling in traffic. This makes the car quieter and saves fuel. Speaking of fuel, Toyota claims the 2026 model is about 5 to 10% more efficient depending on the driving cycle, thanks to a more aggressive start-stop system that shuts the engine off before you even come to a complete halt. So, is the 2026 faster? In a drag race, probably not by much, but in the real world, driving in stop-start traffic or merging onto a highway, that 48-volt system makes the powertrain feel polished in a way the 2025 model never did.
If the chassis is the same and the engine is mostly the same, why does the 2026 model look so different? This is the Cyber Sumo design language. Toyota Australia's design team actually had a huge hand in this. The 2025 HiLux has a very familiar, slightly swept-back look. It has the trapezoidal grille we've known for years. The 2026 HiLux deletes the curves. The front end is almost completely vertical. It's upright, aggressive, and blocky. The headlights are slimmer, high-set LED units that frown at you. The grille is now a massive hexagonal mesh that looks like it could swallow a bird whole. But let's look at the dimensions because this impacts how you park. The 2025 double cab is roughly 5,325 millimeters long and 1,885 millimeters wide. The 2026 model retains the same 3085 millimeter wheelbase, proof again of the carryover chassis. However, the track width, the distance between the left and right wheels, has been pushed out on the high-spec models. The 2026 Rogue and SR5 models are wider, sitting around 2,020 millimeters at the mirrors. The front bumper on the 2026 model is also designed with off-roading in mind. It has a separation line on the lower corners. This is a brilliant detail. If you smash the corner of your bumper on a rock in the 2025 model, you often have to replace the whole bumper fascia. In the 2026 model, those corners are modular. You can unclip the damaged section and replace just the corner. That is a design choice that saves you money. Also, walk around to the back. The 2026 Tub now features an integrated step in the rear bumper corner, similar to what the Ford Ranger has had for years. The 2025 model forced you to step on the tire or awkwardly vault over the tailgate. The 2026 finally fixes this ergonomic nightmare. If you were disappointed by the chassis news, this is where Toyota wins you back. The interior of the 2025 HiLux is, let's be honest, it's dated. You have analog dials with a tiny 4.2-inch TFT screen in the middle. You have an 8-inch infotainment screen that looks like it was glued into the dashboard as an afterthought. The resolution is grainy and the processing speed is mediocre. The 2026 HiLux interior is a quantum leap forward. It looks like they ripped the dashboard out of the new Land Cruiser Prado and stuffed it into the Ute. First, the driver's display. Gone are the physical needles. In the 2026 SR5 and Rogue, you now have a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster. You can customize it to show off off-road angles, media, or just a massive digital speedometer. It's crisp, bright, and modern. Then there is the infotainment. The 2026 model moves to a 12.3-inch landscape touchscreen that sits proudly on top of the dashboard. It runs Toyota's latest multimedia system. This isn't just a bigger screen, it's a smarter one. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that actually connects reliably. The 2025 model required a cable for reliability in many cases. The center console has also been widened. One of the biggest complaints about the 2025 N80 HiLux was that it felt narrow inside. You were constantly bumping elbows with your passenger. While the cab physically hasn't changed much because of the chassis limits, Toyota redesigned the door cards in the center tunnel to create the illusion of space and better armrest ergonomics. The gear shifter in the 2026 model for the 48V variants is a new shift-by-wire stubby lever on some trims, though many markets still get the mechanical shifter. But the biggest ergonomic win? Physical buttons. Despite the massive screens, Toyota kept physical toggle switches for the climate control and the 4WD selector. In the 2025 model, these buttons were fine, but the 2026 switchgear feels heavier, more tactile, more premium. Also, let's touch on the seats. The 2025 seats were okay, but a bit flat. The 2026 seats have increased bolstering and a longer base cushion, providing better under-thigh support for tall drivers.
A HiLux is useless if it can't go bush. Both the 2025 and 2026 models have a weighting depth of 700 millimeters. They both have a rear differential lock. They both have a low-range transfer case. But the 2026 model gets a piece of tech that was previously reserved for the Land Cruiser 300, Multi-Terrain Select, MTS. In the 2025 HiLux, you basically had high range, low range, and your right foot. You had to modulate the throttle yourself to stop wheel spin. The 2026 HiLux with the 48V system introduces MTS, with modes for dirt, sand, mud, deep snow, and rock. When you select rock mode in low range, the computer modulates the brake pressure on individual wheels to mimic a front locker. It controls engine output to prevent digging holes in the sand. It makes an amateur off-roader look like a pro. The 2026 model also gains the transparent bonnet view on the 360-degree camera system. The 2025 model had a camera, but the resolution was low. The 2026 system stitches the video feed to show you exactly where your front tires are placing, underneath the engine bay. However, we have to talk about the electric power steering. The 2025 HiLux uses hydraulic power steering. It's heavy at low speeds, but gives great feedback. The 2026 HiLux switches to electric power steering. Hardcore enthusiasts might hate this because it feels a bit more video gamey, but the benefit is that at low speeds, like parking in a tight spot or maneuvering through trees, you can turn the wheel with one finger. It also enables lane trace assist, meaning the 2026 HiLux can actually steer itself to stay in the center of the lane on the highway, whereas the 2025 model utilizes a brake steer system that just jerks you back if you drift. I need to mention the elephant in the room. The 2026 lineup introduces something the 2025 lineup never had: a fully electric HiLux. It's expected to launch mid-year. It packs a 59.2 kilowatt-hour battery and a single electric motor making roughly 144 kilowatts. Here's the truth though, it has a range of only about 300 kilometers. This is not a road trip vehicle. This is a fleet vehicle for mines and city councils. If you're a private buyer, ignore the EV version for now. The 2025 diesel or the 2026 48V diesel is still the one you want. So, here's the verdict. Is the 2026 Toyota HiLux a new generation? No, it's a massive overhaul of the existing platform. If you own a 2024 or 2025 HiLux, do not rush out to trade it in. Your engine is just as strong, your frame is just as capable, and you aren't missing out on any revolutionary performance gains. However, if you're driving a 2016 or 2018 model and looking to upgrade, the 2026 model is a compelling package. The interior technology finally matches the price tag. The ride comfort is significantly better due to the new cab mounts and suspension tune. The 48V system smooths out the daily grind. Toyota played it safe. They didn't give us the Tundra platform because they didn't want to increase the price to $90,000. They kept the price relatively stable by reusing the chassis but fixing the parts that you actually touch and feel. The 2025 model is the honest horse. The 2026 model is that same horse, but it went to finishing school and got a facelift. If you want to see how this 2026 HiLux handles a drag race against the Ford Ranger V6, hit that subscribe button right now because that video is coming next week.